Welcome to yet another edition of the Stats and Stacks podcast, where today we're going over NFL fantasy football. We're back, baby. It's that time of the year. I know we mainly focus on UFC and NFL betting. However, we do dabble with some fantasy, and there's a lot of good plays this year, a lot of weird runs this year. This week is the biggest week of fantasy football drafts of the year, so I thought it was important to make sure we at least put out some information onto who to draft, who not to draft, who could potentially be a bust, who could be a sleeper, just a lot of who's the safe pick, just a lot of just opinions. That's all fantasy football is opinions. You can also put some stats behind it to try to help you get some stacks. Literally, I mean, I have a league where I have Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews, like a literal stack. So whether it's money, whether it's for just stacks in fantasy football, it is what it is. It's fun to do. So again, the biggest thing on this year's fantasy draft, what you're going to notice is value at the running back position. It's it's a passing league. Everyone's going straight wide receiver heavy. So you have a lot of running backs falling, and that's not how it ever is in fantasy football. You always take all your top running backs, and then you just kind of go back and you hit some receivers. You do zero RB used to be the thing. I found that the best strategy now is hero RB. However, if you're going to go hero RB, I would not take a tight end and a quarterback early as well. I made the mistake of doing that in that aforementioned Lamar Jackson draft, and I fucking hate my team, to be honest with you. So you live and you learn. You have a lot of drafts. There's a reason you do mocks, whether you're using Sleeper, whether you're using the ESPN, Yahoo. It is what it is. It's just no matter what platform you use, even Underdog for best ball drafts, where I lost count how many best ball drafts I've done. Receiver go early, no matter what type of drafts, no matter what format, whether it's PPR, half point PPR, which is pretty much a standard one now. It doesn't matter. Wide receivers go early. So again, you're getting a lot of value on running backs. So top running backs I personally like this year. Tony Pollard. Love Tony Pollard. You're gonna have to draft him early. Initially, you can get him in the second. Some drafts you can still get him in the second. Some drafts he's going in the first round. And to be honest with you, it feels weird, but I'll take him there. Other one I love taking the first round is Nick Chubb. Those are my two favorite running backs. I have them everywhere I physically can. I had a mock, sorry, not a mock. I had an auction draft where I made sure to draft both of them. I am absolutely in love with Tony Pollard, absolutely in love with Nick Chubb because there's no one behind them. I am not scared of the Jerome Ford hype when it comes to Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is going to be on a good offense and he's going to get all of the goal line work. He's going to get all of the touches. There's only so many three down backs in the NFL right now. Nick Chubb is one of them. Same with Tony Pollard. Like people make jokes about Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn may literally be their backup. Like at this point, I know that if you remember Rico from when they did Hard Knocks 2 years ago, the dude with the glasses, I think, is the Deuce Vaughn and Rico are the two backups for Tony Pollard. They don't want to use them until they have to. So Tony Pollard is a true third three down back as well. Not a lot of these anymore. Then you kind of fall over into the draft and you kind of hit that middle ground. I love Miles Sanders. I think Miles Sanders is another 3 round back. I mean, who's behind him? Chuba Hubbard. He got a shot, and they made sure they went and they got Miles Sanders in free agency, or did they? Was it free agents or did they trade? Either or, they went out and they got their guy. They love Miles Sanders. They talk about him being a 3 down back, and I believe him with what's behind him. And then you just look at value picks, man. You look at Khalil Herbert. I don't care what anyone says. I am not scared of Roshan Johnson. I am not scared of Deontay Foreman. It is Khalil Herbert's backfield. It's the same offensive line that was bad last year. The offensive line can only get better this year. And last year, he was over 5 a carry. Khalil Herbert was a monster behind the same line David Montgomery was. Monty did okay. Khalil Herbert did awesome back there. And if you give him a better line and give him a little more opportunity, he's really going to be good value where he's going. I love Tank Bigsby. He's their third down back right now. He's their pass catcher, and Travis Etienne has a history of going down. So if he goes down, Tank Bigsby is everything. And Tank Bigsby is going to be a league winner, and you can get him late. In fact, I have him on the waiver wire in one of my. I'm in a 10-man league, and he's on the waiver wire right now. So please, wherever you have Tank Bigsby, please scoop him up. David Montgomery, I think, is going to be everyone's just penciling him in as the Jamal Williams role. If he's half of what Jamal Williams was, he's still producing for where he's going. Detroit's going to be an even better offense this year. People are hip to them, and there's going to be a ton of offense. Is he going to lead the league in rushing touchdowns like Jamal Williams did? Probably not. Amon Ra got tackled at the 1 yard line like 20 times. I don't know what was wrong with Amon Ra. I think he's just going to get in the end zone this time. But even so, David Montgomery is their goal line back. We know Jahmyr Gibbs is their pass catcher. We know this for a fact. We know David's role is to go out there and get touchdowns. And Jahmyr's a smaller guy. What if he gets hurt? Then Monty becomes an absolute monster in that offense. They have nothing behind those two. So I absolutely love Monty. People are leaving the backfield in Green Bay for dead. I don't know if Green Bay is good or bad. I have absolutely no idea. Aaron Jones, it's questionable. I've been back and forth with him, but AJ Dillon is being left for dead. He's being disrespected. You talk about people that have injury problems. Aaron Jones is going to pull a hamstring. It's not a matter of if; it's a matter of when. And when he does, Aaron Jones is going to get. AJ Dillon's going to get all the work. AJ Dillon doesn't really get hurt, knock on wood. So at this juncture, if that offense is what it could potentially be, I like AJ Dillon for where he's going. I think people are sleeping on him. But it's not all love for the running backs. There's some hate, man. I hate where Bijan is going. I need to see it first. I know this is Zeke 2.0, and Zeke finished as like a top 4 running back his rookie season. I totally get that. Could Bijan do it again? Yes. But Tyler Algier is there, and they like Tyler Algier. I understand they're going to run the ball 3 times as much as they throw it. I totally get that. And if Desmond Ridder was my quarterback, I'd do the exact same thing. However, one, Bijan, we haven't seen it in the NFL. 2, there's another running back there that he has to split a lot of touches with. And if he's not getting it, if Tyler Algier is not getting his touches, they still have Cordell Patterson back there doing 3-down work. So if you're telling me Bijan is splitting it, it's a 3-headed monster, kind of like the Saints were that one time with Pierre and Mark Ingram and Darren Sproles, I think it was. I don't even know. It was a 3-headed monster at one point. That's what I kind of feel like Atlanta's going to be. And if you're taking Bijan as a top 8 pick, I don't want a 3-headed monster taking my 8th overall pick. I'd rather take Chubb Pollard, who's still sitting there. So I'm off Bijan. I was way off Breece Hall. Now Dalvin Cook is there. I am completely off Breece Hall. I don't think he's okay. And I have just a thesis to where it takes a year after an ACL injury to get good. We see it time and time again. That first year back, you do not trust your knee fully and you don't perform well. Second year back, you look just fine. You look phenomenal every single time. Breece Hall, this is his first year back. He's not going to be as good. I've torn my ACL myself. You do not trust your knee. I would not go out there and play professional football 100% the first year after tearing your ACL. And now he's Dalvin Cook back there. It's crowded. He's going to be hurt. They got Dalvin because it tells me the Jets do not believe in Breece. Breece is completely off the board. The other one on here is Dameon Pierce. People are all in on Dameon Pierce, and I don't understand it. One, they got Devin Singletary. I know it looks like with the preseason, Devin Singletary is just predominantly a backup. Initially, I thought they were going to split. I think he is the official backup, and Dameon Pierce is the starter. But it's still a horrible offense. CJ Stroud has potential to be a terrible, terrible quarterback in the NFL. If they're not in the red zone, he's not going to score. They drafted Tank Dell. They have Nico Collins. Their pass catchers are a lot better than just trying to run the ball the entire time. And they're going to be behind. Their defense is getting better, but it's still not good enough to keep up with the rest of the NFL. So they're going to be forced to throw. Dameon Pierce is not a pass catcher. Even if Devin Singletary, that's going to be his role, if anything. So I am completely off of Dameon Pierce. Straight underweight Dameon Pierce in those last few running backs. But as mentioned, wide receiver is where everyone is getting drafted, and it's kind of hard to go wrong with early wide receivers because you're taking them all early. You're taking your Devontae Adams, you're taking your Amon-Ra's, you're taking Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. All these picks are within the first 10 picks. Like these guys, receivers are flying off the board. And honestly, it sounds crazy, but one of my favorite ones, someone I've flirted with taking right after Cooper Kupp, even before Devontae Adams. That's kind of my line. I want to take Adams more, but I might take this guy right before Devontae Adams. Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he's good, man. I think he's very, very good. Initially, I kept thinking he's just a slot receiver. I don't want just a slot. I want nothing to do with this. He can have some okay games, but I'm not believing it. But he kept doing it over and over and over. And then last year in his sophomore outing, he got even better. And now you're taking away Jameson Williams after the betting. I, dude, I think he's going to be the only target. I think Jared Goff is going to stare him down. They have a rookie tight end now. They have the old corpse of Marvin Jones running out there. They have who? Khalif Raymond is going to be the two without Jameson Williams there. Yeah, I think Amon-Ra is going to get every single target that Jared Goff throws out there. And I think he's going to be an absolute monster the first 6 weeks of the season. And that's a big chunk of the season. And even when Jameson Williams comes back, Amon-Ra still the guy. So he's honestly one of my favorite receivers. If you miss out on the top five with the Cooper Kupp and the Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, if you miss out on them, Amon-Ra is my next on the list. Outside of Amon-Ra, we're just really looking for value here. Chiefs wide receivers is usually a crapshoot, but rookies seem to struggle. So I'm actually on Sky Moore right now. It's his sophomore outing. It's a complex playbook, and I think he's going to have a full grasp of it now. He doesn't have a lot of competition. I mean, Travis Kelce is the best receiver on the team. Outside of Travis Kelce, I mean, MVS is going to have a random 2 games in the season. Oh God, what's the name of the rookie they just drafted? I don't remember, but the rookies do not perform in Andy Reid offenses. They just don't. We've seen decades worth of examples. They just simply do not. Justin Ross, like, is that his competition? Like, I don't understand what's going on here. So I think Sky Moore is going to get not hyper targeted. It's going to be the Kelce show, but Moore is going to be a sneaky pick where he's going. I love Gabe Davis this year. Obviously, I'm a Bills fan. I'm a little biased, but Gabe Davis was hurt. Everyone forgets he looked great week 1. He looked great week 2, and then week 3 tore not tore. He had a problem with his hamstring. He missed a few games. Then the game he came back, Josh Allen got hurt. So Josh Allen didn't have a throwing arm the second half of the season. So if you're coming back from a leg injury and then your quarterback who it throws the ball for a living has a hurt arm, it's not going to correlate well. It's not going to look good. Everyone was drafting him in the 3rd or 4th round last year. Now they're leaving him for dead in the 9th, 10th, 11th round. Scoop up all the Gabe Davis you can. This is going to be a bounce back year. It's also kind of a contract year for Gabe Davis. So he's going to do everything he can to get paid. Do not forget that. Do not forget contracts when it comes to fantasy football. That's one of the biggest things. If you are up and you're supposed to get paid next year, you are going to do everything you can. You're going to try your hardest. You're going to try to look like a superstar. So I'm in love with Gabe Davis this year. Jahan Dotson's another one. And now with Terry McLaurin getting hurt, Jahan just upgraded to the 1. And Jahan's still going late. Scoop up Jahan Dotson everywhere you can. I know you're going to have to believe in Sam Howell, but they don't really have pass catchers. They have who, like Antonio Gandy Golding. I mean, I literally don't know outside of Terry McLaurin who they're going to pass to. They don't have a good tight end. They don't have other good wide receivers. Their running back is Brian Robinson, who predominantly just runs. He doesn't catch. They do have Antonio Gibson, but he can only catch so many passes out the outfield. I think it's going to be a 2-man offense, and the number 1 is hurt right now, so that upgrades Dotson, and he's going to be a monster. Speaking of a lot of people in the wide receiver room, Zay Flowers is another one I absolutely love. He's good. He was my favorite wide receiver coming out of this draft, outside of JSN, actually. I like JSN, and then I like Zay Flowers. I thought Zay Flowers is a phenomenal route runner. Reminds me of kind of Antonio Brown, like pre-psycho Antonio Brown. The dude's quick, dude's athletic, dude's fast. Dude's crisp. He's just an overall great football player, and he's already seems to be the number 1 wide receiver. Yes, Odell's there. Rashad Bateman's hurt. Odell's coming off of our injured season. Like, all of his competition are coming off of injuries. Even Mark Andrews, who is still going to be a factor, is also coming off of an injury. So it's like, he's the healthy one. He's probably the fastest one, and he's one that Lamar's going to throw a ton to. We looked at little Hollywood Brown when he played with Lamar, and they sent the smaller, fast guy to go long. and he had one hell of a season with Lamar, just running 9 routes. Zay can run intermediate routes, and he can run a 9 route, and he's fast, and he's a burner. And if that's going to be his role, he's going to score a ton for where he's going. Speaking of Hollywood, he's the guy I drafted the most. Who else is in Arizona? They have a terrible team. They're projected to be the worst team in the NFL. You're going to have to pass, and he is the one. He is the alpha. I don't know who his quarterback is. There are talks of Kyler getting traded. If Kyler's getting traded, the Cardinals are going to play him, audition him, show people that he still has something and he's worth trading for. So I do think Kyler's going to come back at some point this season. Outside of that, I don't even know his receivers' names. Greg Dortch, Mike Wilson, I think is the guy they have. Like none of these guys, you have to really hesitate and make sure these are the right guys. Zach Ertz is hurt. You don't even have your tight end. It's going to be Trey McBride out there. Like it's going to be the Hollywood show and a team that has to pass the entire game. So I'm in love with Hollywood Brown. I love Nico Collins. I had him in Dynasty, and I ran him out there with a bad quarterback with Davis Mills, and he performed with Davis Mills on a bad offense. I know I talked about Damian Pierce, but and saying Houston sucks, but Nico Collins, when he was not hurt, was a shining spot for the Houston Texans. And now they have an upgrade at quarterback with CJ Stroud potentially. We're not too sure. But I'll take that shot where Nico's going. He's a talented wide receiver. He might have an upgrade, and they're going to have to pass the ball a lot. And speaking of upgrades, Alec Pierce. He seems to have a connection with Anthony Richardson. It is just preseason. It is just practice. But he is their deep threat guy. And AR-15 loves airing it out. So he kind of reminds me of like a Deshaun Watson his rookie year. He can run around, he can scramble around, he's going to get a ton of rushing yards, and he loves to just air it out. And who's going to be down the field? It's going to be Alec Pierce, and we've already seen that in practice. So I do like Alec Pierce for where he's going quite a bit. He's even going undrafted in some areas. Some people I don't like in regards to a receiver core. I'm on an island. I know it. Garrett Wilson. I don't like where he's going. Him going in the first round is nauseating. I hate him going in the first round. People are taking him over Devontae Adams, and it's like putrid. It's disgusting. I think Garrett Wilson is a great football player. I think he's one hell of a talent. But I think Aaron Rodgers is on the decline. I know I'm a Bills fan. I know I'm biased, but Aaron Rodgers is on a little bit of a decline. Aaron Rodgers loves his boys. He brought in Allen Lazard for a reason. He wants to throw to him. Garrett Wilson's going to be open. He's going to throw to Garrett Wilson. Don't get me wrong. But taking him over Devontae Adams, taking him over Amon-Ra St. Brown, no, fuck no. I can't do it. I just physically cannot do it. Also, I'm sorry, I totally forgot. Jerry Jeudy and Sutton. I like both of them. They're not on the fade list. They're actually on the overweight list. I like both the Broncos wide receivers. I don't know which one it's going to be, but Sutton's going undrafted in some drafts, to be honest with you. Jerry Jeudy's going super late. Their values as well. And the reason that brought to my attention is because Calvin Ridley's another one where there's a lot of mouths to feed. I don't know if I like where he's going. He's going in that Jeudy range. I don't know, man. I think he looks better than all the other wide receivers, but Christian Kirk is more of the red zone guy. Christian Kirk is going to score the touchdowns. They like to run. They have Tank Bigsby. They have Travis Etienne. They want to give him. They just extended Zay Flowers. Zay Jones. They like the receivers they had last year. Now there's adding Calvin Ridley to it. Awesome. He could be the one. But if he's garnering all the attention, and these other guys who are really quick and slick are wide the fuck open, I think the ball is going to be spread around. You also brought back Evan Ingram. Like there's a lot of mouths to feed in that offense. And it's nothing against the talent in Calvin Ridley, but I have not seen him in a year. The year he was playing, the last time we saw him, he was having mental health issues, which more power to him. I hope he gets 100% healthy with all of that. But that's like, it shows me he's not really dependable in regards to a fantasy football regard. And again, a lot of mouths to feed is the biggest thing. So I hate offenses. Again, I'm all over Amon-Ra because he's the guy. I'm all over Gabe Davis. They really only have a few guys there. Well, I guess they have Dalton Kincaid now. But again, I'm more of a volume guy. Hollywood, he is the guy. There's no other mouths there. Calvin Ridley, there's a lot of mouths there, and I'm not a fan of that. At first, I had Juju on this list as people to fade, but now everyone is fading Juju, so you don't have to worry about drafting him because no one's going to do it. He's absolutely terrible. He has a knee injury. He's on a bad offense. Stay the fuck away, as everyone is aware now. And the last one on here is Devontae Smith. I don't like where he's going. This is a total ADP move. Him and T. Higgins, I stare at, and I hate that they're not even number ones on their team. I can add T. Higgins to this list. I think they're great talents. I just can't take them in the second round. There's a lot of quality guys still there in the second round, and that's where I'd rather get a running back. I'd rather start with a receiver and then grab a running back in the second round. I bet you a Pollard or Chubb are still there in the second round, and I'd much rather have them over a two on their team. So if they're a two on their team, they're probably going to be a two in your leagues. But if you're drafting them in the second round, it could be your wide receiver one potentially. I don't want the second best receiver on the team being my wide receiver one. I mean, you have like the Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. I love them, but I'm not going to draft them as a wide receiver one. Those are another two that I like. I like Evans more than Godwin, to be honest with you. I just excluded them from the list because I don't think they're going to be in Tampa all year. I think Tampa's going to blow it up if they start with a crappy record, and I don't know where they're going to be, so I just had to exclude them from the list. But if they are in Tampa, Chris and Mike Evans, I love where Mike Evans is going if he does reside in Tampa and stays there all year. All right, next up, we have the quarterback position. Guys, where I usually wait, I'm notorious for just streaming quarterbacks or taking value on them really, really late. I had like a few Russell Wilson leagues last year. That didn't quite work out. So I'm trying to scope it out a little more. And there's just a lot of guys that people are just ignoring. Like Jared Goff. I love Jared Goff this year. Again, that might be part of my infatuation with Amon Ra. But at the same time, Jameer Gibbs is an absolute weapon. He's fast. Amon Ra always open, and then their other receivers that aren't that good. All they do are run 9 routes. So if they come down with one, that's a tutty, baby. So I like Jared Goff a lot for where he's going. You can draft all your other skill positions, your bench, and then draft Jared Goff, and there's no one behind him. There's no competition there. This is Jared Goff's team, and he performed last year, and he has a fun schedule, to be honest with you. Justin Fields is another one where I thought he'd go higher after the year he had. He's still at a presentable spot. You can draft him. You're basically just drafting a running back. I don't think he's going to hold up all year, so that does concern me. But for where you're drafting him, I think it's perfectly fine. Same with Tua. A lot of value on Tua because of his head injuries. He's throwing the Waddle and Hill. He's going to have huge, huge, huge games. Is he going to make it the whole season? I don't know. We might see his career end. But in that instance, I have a league where I have Tua and I have Anthony Richardson I got with my second to last pick. So you can get a quality QB at the end to protect yourself. I hate getting backup QBs. I don't do it. I don't get two tight ends. I don't get two quarterbacks. I always just get one of each and then I just stream. But in this rare circumstance, I think Tua, who could literally end his career, I think you can get a late one and be perfectly fine there. Derek Carr is another one. They're building something. If Michael Thomas is anything what he used to be, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with in New Orleans. Chris Olave is one of my favorite receivers. He wasn't on the overweight list because he's drafted so high. Like he's being drafted appropriately. So yeah, I love the Thomas Olave combo with Derek Carr and Alvin Kamara. When he comes back, he only got 3 games. So when he comes back, he's a pass catcher. So he has two good receivers and a dynamic pass catching running back. I think that bodes well for Derek Carr in a division that's not very good. So his schedule is going to help him as well. And I think he has like the number one schedule for. I know Olave has the number one schedule for wide receivers, so I'm assuming it correlates with quarterback. Kirk Cousins is another one. He has JJ. He has Jordan Addison. Don't sleep on KJ Osborne. He's a great wide receiver three. So Kirk Cousins, you know what you're getting. You plug your nose and you just take it. You're not going to get any like league winner. We're going to he's going to give you something consistent each and every week. I'm growing on Sam Howell. He has some rushing upside that no one's talking about. Sam Howell's not a bad player. He has Jacoby Brissett waiting in the wing, so if he does struggle, they will yank him and put Brissett out there, so it's a risk. But Sam Howell's going undrafted, so he's just somebody to keep an eye on. And Geno Smith is going late. He had good weapons with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Now they added JSN. Is he going to be? He was the most proficient quarterback last year. Is he going to be the most accurate again? Probably not. But even if he drops a little and you add a better weapon in JSN, I think he'll at least return value as to where he's going. So he's another one to keep an eye on. And lastly, Lamar Jackson, you do have to draft him kind of high, like fourth, fifth roundish. But he's the last of the top tier. Like you have your Josh Allen, you have your Patrick Mahomes, you have your Jalen Hurts, and then I think Lamar is the last one in there. With Joe Burrow's leg concern, I don't have him in there. Justin Herbert, I have him in the next tier. I think Lamar is in that Allen Mahomes tier with his rushing upside and his new weapons. And then that takes us to people I don't like in the quarterback position. Get this one. Josh Allen for fantasy football. He's going to run a lot less. They do not want this man running as much as he did. He was their entire offense last year. He got hurt, and that was a wake up call. The whole thing for the Bills this year was protect Josh Allen. They want to dial him back a little bit. So I love Josh Allen. He's still going to finish top 5 because he's one hell of a talent, but I am not taking him in like the second round or even the third round. It's just too rich for someone that they're going to take away some of his rushing yards. They got Damian Harris, a big back in there to take away his goal line. So did you notice this? They got offensive linemen. They got Latavius Murray, who's old as shit. He's old enough to be a grandpa. Big body so that Josh doesn't run it in. Damian Harris, big body, so Josh doesn't have to run it in. They have James Cook as a dynamic player, and then they have a big body so that Josh stops taking those hits. Aaron Rodgers, like I said, was fading last year, and I think he's going to continue to slip. I don't think he's that good right now. Jalen Hurts is someone I'm also gonna. I think that was the best year we'll ever see out of Jalen Hurts. Will he still be good? Yes. Is he gonna be durable like that? I know he got hurt last year. He might get hurt again, and I don't think he'll be as proficient as he was last year. Patrick Mahomes, he's normal. I just don't like drafting QBs that high. Joe Burrow with the leg injury, it does concern me where he's still going. And I think Daniel Jones, just like Jalen Hurts, I think that was the best career year we're going to see from Daniel Jones. I think they're going to get figured out. I believe in Brian Dable. I think he's a great, great, great coach. Great hire on their end. But the old Daniel Jones interception, Danny Dimes is going to rear his ugly head, and I don't think it's going to be the same guy as last year. And then the last position is tight end. We're going to just totally exclude defense. Tight end people I absolutely love. Not a lot because this is another position I tend to stream, but there are a lot of late guys I like a lot. First and foremost, not late, but Darren Waller is my favorite tight end this year. Travis Kelce, I can't do in the first round this year. I just can't. I don't want any part of Kittle this year. He's too brittle. And that offense there's too many mouths to feed. Mark Andrews is okay, but he's going in the third round. It's a little rich. It's right at that limit. I have him in one league, like I said, because he fell to the fourth. But it's a heavy price to pay. So I like right where Darren Waller is going. He is their wide receiver one. I legitimately have no idea who their wide receiver one is. The number one target is Darren Waller. He was brought in to do so. All the beat reporters are saying it's him. The preseason told us it's him. So the money, the beat reporters, and the play we saw in the field is saying it's Darren Waller. So I'm gonna, some things are a little miscued or misguided. Everything is pointing toward Darren Waller, and I believe it. Greg Dulcich is another one I like. A lot of mouths to feed in over in Denver, but the tight end position, you're not worried about that. You're worried about scoring and you're worrying about proficiency. And Greg Dulcich's game he played, he looked phenomenal in every game he played. And Russ loves tight ends. He loves running the tight ends in the red zone. So I do like Greg Dulcich with his touchdown upside. Dawson Knox is another one. Josh Allen stares him down in the red zone. He's touchdown or bust. He's going to give you 5 for 45 and a touchdown. And even with Dalton Kincaid there, Dalton Kincaid is really just a glorified receiver, to be honest with you. He's not a tight end. They're going to use him like a slot receiver. So he's going to take away a little. So you might even see more of like 4 for 35 for Dawson Knox and a touchdown or two. But he's going undrafted. So don't sleep on Dawson Knox. He's a good streaming option throughout the year because Josh loves him in the red zone. Speaking of scoring touchdowns, Juwan Johnson is an absolute monster. I don't understand what's happening here, but he scores seemingly every single game he plays. I've never seen anything like it. And Derek Carr again likes his tight end. So Jimmy Grandpa just got in trouble with the law. Taysom Hill is really just a gadget player, so that leaves Juwan Johnson. He's an absolute animal. Irv Smith is another one where Joe Burrow has random games where he just hyper targets a tight end, like 3 games a year. So Irv is a good player. He can never stay healthy. He's healthy right now. Joe isn't really, but for those 3 games he's going to have, he's going undrafted. Is keep an eye on. And Tyler Higbee, Cooper Kupp is back. He's going to get hyper targeted. But then there's no one else. Cam Akers is one hell of a running back. I love Cam Akers. I don't know why I didn't mention him in the people I have. I love Cam Akers. He's a great running back. He's another one you should draft a ton of. But Tyler Higbee's the other target. They're not going to throw to Tutu Atwell. They're going to just throw a few 9 routes to Van Jefferson. That's about it. Otherwise, it's Cooper Kupp, run it with Cam Akers, and use Tyler Higbee everywhere. And then lastly, tight ends I can't get. Again, I've kind of already hit on it. Kelsey is just too rich in the first round. He's gonna start to fade. He's been in the league forever. I think it might be that year where he gets outpassed and outpaced. And George Kittle, I don't like him on this offense right now. Brock Purdy likes him, but George is just always hurt. He's always hurt. And I don't like Brock Purdy, to be honest with you. I don't think he's a starting caliber quarterback. I think there's a reason he is Mr. Irrelevant. I think he was in a good system. But people are catching on. People are ready for Brock Purdy, and I think the fun little Purdy story is about to come to a tragic end here. And I think George Kittle is going to suffer some of that. So again, that is some of the people I love and hate in fantasy football this year. Again, most people, this is the biggest draft week of the year. Everyone's going to be lit. Everyone's going to be having their drafts. Everyone's going to be eating well. Football is only 2 weeks away. Next week, we're going to do the over under, kind of like a win total, who we like to win the division, who we like to win the Super Bowl, who we like their over under, whether we like the under to hit, the overs to hit. We'll go through all the futures. And then the week after that, football starts. I'm excited. I'm pumped. I'm ready to make some money. And I'm ready for football to start, baby. Let's get it.